In our first story, the domestic debt exchange program is likely to weigh on the balance sheets of commercial banks and consequently reduce credit to the private sector. That's according to international research and market information firm Fitch Solutions. In its January 2023 Sub-Saharan Africa update, Fitch Solutions said the reduction in loans, particularly to corporate institutions, will impact on the economy. Mike Kuniga is Senior Country Risk Analyst in charge of Sub-Saharan Africa.
When talking about access to credit, another factor that I think is really important to mention here is Ghana's domestic debt restructuring program. So while negotiations are still ongoing, the likely restructuring of domestic debt will weigh on commercial banks' balance sheets, weakening their ability to issue loans to corporates, so further restricting access to credit for businesses. Given the high levels of consumer price inflation that we're still seeing, rising taxes under the IMF program, and higher interest rates, we believe that political instability is likely to rise in Ghana in 2023. So if we shift our attention to the right-hand side chart, you can see that the Ghana's short-term political risk index has been on a downward trend for the past 12 months.
Now, government has assured that it will use the mid-year budget in July this year to announce some expenditure reviews. It follows Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta's announcement that some expenditure cuts will be undertaken to complement the domestic debt exchange program. There's more in this report.
Joy Business understands that there are some reviews currently ongoing that will first hit the macroeconomic targets for it to be adjusted in July this year, when the Finance Minister presents the mid-year review of budget estimates to Parliament. Government is also working on the expenditure numbers that will result in some cuts, as well as bring the end-of-year target to some favourable levels. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is projecting to spend about 205 billion Ghana cedis by the end of 2023. However, based on what we are picking up, this amount could go down significantly after July this year. One area that will be immediately affected is the interest payment expenditure as captured in the 2023 budget. This is because of the current debt exchange program and how that could impact on this expenditure item. I could also see the numbers come down significantly. Government is also working with the World Bank to review some of government's flagship social intervention programs, and how that expenditure allocation can also be reviewed going forward. Well, it is not clear for now whether these expenditure cuts will be that significant to support the current debt exchange program that has resulted in some bondholders losing significant amount of their investment. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has told Joy Business that government remains committed to reducing its expenditure to fall in line with the current challenges facing the economy.
Well, meantime, pensioners have been staging a protest for a third day at the Ministry of Finance, demanding total exemption from the domestic debt exchange program. JoyNews' James Abeji has the latest.
Well, I'm a sick man. I'm 81-year-old, and I'm spending a lot on my drugs and my treatment. Very soon I'll be on dialysis. And I know dialysis is very expensive.
I'll come back to talk about that. But if you say you are a doctor, tell us a bit more about yourself.
I'm a retired medical practitioner.
A
retired medical practitioner. I work on my own. I was a private medical practitioner and retired because of sickness. And I saved so that it will help me look after myself. I live on my money. I invested so that I look after myself. I retired on 2017. I retired.
You retired in 2017. Wow. So, at what point did you buy the government bond?
No, I bought it only last year to help me. I wanted to invest to help me look after myself. That's all.
Have you been able to receive any of the coupons since you invested?
No, I don't receive coupons. I don't receive coupons. I invested and then it's maturing in September.
In September 2023.
2023. Yes.
I see. So, what is the relationship between this investment you have made and your health?
No, because I depend on it. And if you sit on it, I cannot look after myself. That's it.
You mentioned that you invested last year with the intention to use that to look after yourself. What exactly do you mean?
I mean, to buy drugs and then dialysis. I'm an old man. I have so many type of diseases. I can't tell you all. But I spend a lot on drugs. And very soon, I'll start dialysis. And I need my money for it. That's why I'm waiting when the September comes, when I collect my money, I will start the dialysis.
When were you booked to start the dialysis?
Dialysis any time from now, because I'm the end of renal failure. When you are in the stage 4, and you can go renal failure anytime.
Total exemption.
We plead for total exemption.
Total exemption. But I want to add a few things. Some of us still have children in schools. How do you expect us to pay for these fees? You have given letters to other schools for them to exempt them or whatever. Please, total exemption.
Day 3 of protests being staged there by the pensioners over the domestic debt exchange program. Let's see how far that goes. Now, let's switch to other news. The Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council says it is committed to supporting Ghana come out of our economic crisis. Chairperson of the Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council, Lord Jonathan Marland, who paid a visit to the country, sat down with my colleague Blaise Soga, where he revealed that talks will soon begin to create a Commonwealth Free Trade Agreement or area to shore up investment in Ghana and other developing countries within the IMF. Here's more.
Great to
be back on the program.
Yes, and of course, you were here in the country about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You met the president. You described Ghana as the black star of Africa, giving our stellar economic performance at the time and how the trajectory was. How are you feeling now returning into a country that's now moving into austerity with the International Monetary Fund?
Well, it's like moving into every country in the world, frankly. Every country in this post-COVID environment is really struggling financially. And Ghana is like the rest of them. I've come directly here from the UK. I'm on my way to Nigeria. It'll be the same story every country I go to. This very difficult time as countries try and recover from this huge shock, not only of COVID, of course, but the war in Ukraine.
I was just going there because many experts have described that war, the conflict and tension between Russia and Ukraine, as an add-on effect to the post-COVID shocks. But what's not forthcoming is the support to developing countries from the likes of the UK, which have managed the shocks of the tension much more better. What we see is a ramped up support to the likes of Ukraine, given the direct effects of the war. But here in Africa, we're reeling under the effects of the disruptions in the trade and supply chains as well. From your perspective, what should the Commonwealth be doing at such a crucial time to support less developing countries within the association?
Well, don't be so hard on yourselves here in Ghana, because there's a lot of good things going. And, the fundamentals are right. You're also getting support from the IMF, which is a Western support system. So, obviously, Western countries are helping and backing the IMF in what they're doing with you. So, that's a good thing. The Commonwealth is obviously an alliance of countries. There's no formal relationship other than participating in a group. My role is to engender trade and investment across Commonwealth countries, of which there are now 56. And therefore, I think our role is very important as the world gets back into travelling, the world gets back into a globalisation that hasn't happened for the last 2 years, as countries and people have looked inwards rather than outwards, and are now recognising that we need to look outwards in order to develop trade, therefore develop growth, therefore develop prosperity, and therefore get the engine of each country going again.
You've been in Accra for a number of days.
Well, I haven't actually. Sadly, I'm only been here for sort of nearly 30 hours. Such is the thing. I'd like to be in Accra for a number of days.
I'm just wondering what engagements have been taking place just to boost.
Well, I think I only had 14 meetings yesterday, which was sort of nearly a world record, with banks, with ministers, with government organisations, with property companies, etc. And I'm struck by how there is now this desire to start looking outwards, to start seeing how banks in particular can no longer rely on the government for supporting them financially, are having to look at ways of restructuring their balance sheet. I brought people out with me who are in that business, so they've been very interestingly and warmly welcomed. And I see a lot of opportunity. We, as you know, as an organisation, have people based here, and we're determined to help Ghana in every possible way to regain that prosperity and growth you were talking about before these terrible global events happened.
Does the widely held belief that trade hasn't helped less developed nations who are overly reliant on their natural resources and export of raw materials, how can countries such as Ghana leverage on this new opportunity that
Well, I totally dispute what you're saying. I don't think that's true. I think emerging countries have benefited hugely from trade. The key to it is, and where Ghana is ahead of the pack, is that if you are a free trade economy, an open economy, transparent economy, an economy that's based upon the rule of law, you're in a much better fundamental position to participate in international trade than if you're not. And so those countries that don't engage in that are obviously struggling because people find it very difficult to invest in them. Businesses, as you know, like to have a clarity of vision as to what the terms of engagement when they're investing in a country, and that's why Ghana has always been an international investment opportunity.
Some attempts are being made at the South-South cooperation side, where we have the likes of the Continental Free Trade Area taking place.
Yes.
Ghana is playing host to the agreement.
Yeah.
And if there is any better example to learn from, it will be the European Union. Unfortunately, the UK is not part of it. Feeding into that, how would the Commonwealth want to play a strategic role in helping African countries shore up trade and investment?
Well, the first thing to say is it is a remarkable agreement, this. Not only achieving a concord between multiple African countries, but the speed with which it's happened. That's an extraordinary. No one thought it would happen this quickly, and of course it's right that it's based here in Ghana, and we as the Commonwealth are going to work very closely with the organisation to help it prosper. But there is maybe a possibility that one could start some form of Commonwealth trade agreement. This is something that I've asked the UK government to consider, which has those Commonwealth countries aligned to free trade, open market, etc., subscribing to it, and when other countries become a free trade and open market, they could join as well. So I think we'll have that discussion with them next time I'm here. In the meantime, my team are going to be starting and opening discussions with them to see where we can help.
While we look forward to that, I'm just wondering what will be the next steps after your country visits. You're indicating to us that Ghana is not the only African country you're visiting.
My next steps to Ghana, we'd like to be sitting by the pool, playing tennis, relaxing, chilling out, enjoying all the things, rather than coming here for a rush to 36 hours, because it's such a great country and everyone's unbelievably friendly and generous and warm. Our next phase is to continue to build our base here of membership. I think that there is an opportunity for a concord or a conference between the City of London, where we have worked very closely, and the financial institutions here, to see how we can progress with this balance sheet enhancement, and that is something that we'll be working towards during this year. A visit by Ghanaian financial institutions to the City of London, and continuing the sort of dialogue we've initiated today. I think, as you rightly mentioned earlier, the free trade agreement, how we can support with that will be important, and there'll be a continuation of my team coming here and seeing what we can do to help.
Let's, of course,
and in fact, what the Ghanaians can do to help the UK government, who are in equally difficult problems.
Okay, I'd just like to pick up on that, because, for instance, there's an analysis by Bloomberg indicating that access to the UK itself for some of the Commonwealth countries is becoming a challenge, rather than those who are even outside the community. Less than 6% of those from China and some other countries are less likely to be denied visa.
Well, I don't know
access.
where you get this. I don't know where you get this idea from. These are statistics and figures are extraordinary things and come from lots of different varying sources, depending on what your line of questioning is. The bare facts is that inter-Commonwealth trade has increased year on year quite dramatically. It's well known that it's 21% more competitive dealing inter-Commonwealth because of shared things that we have within the Commonwealth. And in terms of the EU, this much quoted thing that UK's trade with the EU has fallen and things like that, it's increased by 40% since 2016. So these are according to the Office of National Statistics. So one's got to be very careful with figures. Of course, during COVID, trade fell off a cliff. And so if it falls off a cliff, it's gone down quite considerably. But I see it moving back very steadily and surely. And it needs to, in order for economies like ours in the UK and other Commonwealth countries, but including Ghana, to return to that prosperity that we were enjoying pre-COVID.
I'm sure that
when I was last time here.
And that was exclusive with Lord Marland there, speaking with our Blaise Sugar. Let's turn to other stories for you this afternoon on the marketplace. Outgoing Deputy Trade and Industry Minister Herbert Kwappa has expressed optimism government's industrialization agenda will witness significant boost this year, as over 30 Japanese companies have declared interest to invest in Ghana's automotive, manufacturing and pharmaceutical industries. According to him, the presence of these foreign investors will provide better opportunities for the business community in Ghana, partner and participate in the African Continental Free Trade Area. Mr. Kwappa spoke to Joy Business at a business climate and networking cocktail in Accra.
The Japanese business delegation are in the country to partner Ghanaian businesses in the areas of agriculture, trade, manufacturing, transport, and other relevant sectors of the economy. The existence of these foreign businesses will afford the Ghanaian business community a unique opportunity to network and share business ideas together in their respective trade areas. Speaking to Joy Business at the briefing of Ghanaian Business Climate and Networking Cocktail, outgoing Deputy Trade and Industry Minister Herbert Kwappa mentioned that the over 30 Japanese businesses' presence in Ghana will boost government's industrialization drive.
33 businesses from Japan is going to increase Japanese presence in Ghana in terms of manufacturing, agro-processing, and of course Honda, which is part of the delegation, who are in the process of setting up an assembly plant here. All of that machinery and equipment, assembly and manufacturing of parts, all of that is going to help with the industrialization agenda that we are currently implementing.
President of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng, said its members will take advantage of this partnership in order to leverage on the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement.
We've been able to establish what we are best known to be doing, and that we have to go a bit further if we want to industrialize as a country. And that's why we deem such meetings very important, because if you partner with such groups coming from Japan, such a high technological destination, then of course we are going somewhere. That's why everybody is showing its enthusiasm to find a partner, a suitable partner in these investors that have come here. So we are overly excited and making sure that we are able to bridge up with these investors so that we can also transform the businesses that we do from the main trading. Well, most of the time it starts with trading, and after they've known the potential here, then we move into the manufacturing sector. So, you know, the Continental Free Trade Area also, we are bracing ourselves to take every advantage in it, but we cannot do it alone unless we have big-time investors such as this.
On his part, Japanese ambassador to Ghana, His Excellency Hisanubu Muchudiki, expressed Japan's commitment to continue to invest in Ghana.
Great business opportunities for foreign investors. The Ghana Beyond Aid agenda of the government is to drive the country from aid to trade. Ghana is also characterized by its stable political and security situation. These are reasons why Japanese companies have the confidence to engage the Ghana business community for partnership and cooperation.
The Japan External Trade Organization is a Japanese government agency supporting trade and investments between Japan and the rest of the world.
Now, as the country looks at ways to improve agri productivity, I want to tell you about an innovation which could help deal with the human resource gap. I'm talking about Inobwa, a human resource company started by Portia Alanyo. She joins us on Zoom to talk about it. Her firm is part of the UNICEF Startup Lab program. Thanks for joining us, Portia. This sounds exciting. So how did you come up with the idea?
Hey, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. So it all started when I had the experience to join a friend on his farm. And on this farm, he needed labor to help in his harvesting. And it was a hell and frustrating moment trying to get people to work in helping us do the harvesting. So through this experience, we thought of finding a solution to this problem in the agricultural sector, because it's a big challenge that most farmers in Ghana face when it comes to labor issues in Ghana.
So how does this app work?
Okay, so Inobwa is a go-to app for all agricultural graduates and agribusinesses and farms in Ghana. So you just find Inobwa app on your Play Store or App Store. You download it, you sign up, and input your CV, your bio details, any information that we need to know about you. And after that, we have an interview section with you where we record everything we have during that interview session. After which you take an aptitude test just for us to understand your level of thinking. And we also, after shortlisting, we take you to the field to exhibit or show us your physical skills, because some people can just bring good CVs and show their intelligence, but are very poor when it comes to the field work.
All right.
As a business or farm, you can also do the same and let us know the current stage of your organization, the help you need, and you'll match it up from there.
What feedback are you getting, and how do you expect this to impact the agri sector?
Okay, so so far we've had good interactions with some agribusinesses to help them get good quality human capital. And we know in the agricultural sector, when you have good human capital, it helps you increase your productivity. So yeah, so far those we've worked with have given positive feedbacks. They have someone to trust, and they have people with the skills and experience, and someone to account to if there's something wrong with the personnel we bring in.
All right, and you're receiving support from UNICEF under the Startup Lab program. Has it been helpful?
Yes, please. It's been supportive. They have helped us gain more skills, and in terms of like the tech side of our product, how to go about it, the steps, and also the support to build other products that on their way coming. That's great. Very exciting. We wish you all the best with Inobwa. Thank you so much for joining us. That was Portia Alanyo, a student of the University of Ghana, who has developed an app to help deal with the human resource gap in the agri sector. And that's our program this afternoon. Thanks for watching, everyone. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Daryl Kwawu. Thanks for watching. There you go, myjoyonline.com/business. See you same time tomorrow.